Hi, so welcome back to Couch Cam. It's been a while since I've recorded from here. Please do not mind the little pop filter on the Yeti mic. Someone commented on my audio in the last video, and because I have the coping skills of an unwashed cabbage, I went ahead and ordered one very, very quickly on Amazon Prime. I want to talk about something that's probably a little bit different. Well, I say different, but the further I go into it, the more I'm sure you'll understand. There is an artist that I've been following for a few years now. I know him by a couple of pseudonyms, Wasango being the big one, and Andy being his more human name. Andy has made a niche for himself in drawing Kamubok, fan art, and Kamubok is a pairing from D. Gray Man between Kamui Lee and Bok Chang. And honestly, D. Gray Man to me was such a nothing anime until I started following Andy's work. And he breathed so much life into Kamui Lee and into Bok Chang that just the main series didn't really do. That's more present in the manga, which I had to go back. But really, he breathed such life into these characters, so much so that if you go on a lot of his like fan spaces, people think that they're OCs of his. Like, these really, he lives, breathes, eats, sleeps Kamubok, and I think that that's wonderful. He's actually the reason why I ended up cosplaying Bok Chang later. And if you've ever seen those photos of me dressed as Bok Chang, I had an amazing time. I would never have cosplayed this tiny blonde tyrant if it wasn't for his work. And as I started following his work, there was something that I noticed. There was a woman that would come up a lot. Her name was Eden. Eden was, from everything that I can understand, not only Andy's best friend, but also his collaborator, partner, and muse. They worked together. So Andy was doing a lot of the art, Eden was doing a lot of the writing. Together, they were collaborators and thought about ideas, scripts, and stories. So Eden's also working in the Kamubok space, writing some lovely fanfic, and Andy is oftentimes providing art based on or for her words. Together, they have a shipping manifesto for Kamubok that when I talked about shipping in my Boys Love podcast, I say that their shipping manifesto is the platonic ideal of shipping manifestos. This is what every shipping manifesto should strive to be. It is page upon page upon page with so much well thought research, with so much heart, with so much dedication, with so many points and nods to canon as possible that it's just fantastic. I am not joking. When I say that I think that this is the platonic ideal of shipping manifestos, I am not lying. It was a beautiful synchronous relationship, and I built kind of this strange parasocial bond between them, mostly as a passive observer. I got to watch them both, almost like a binary star system, orbit around each other and continue to feed each other and continue to work together. And I honestly, from afar, thought it was beautiful. And I continue to think it's beautiful. A few years ago, Eden passed away. I don't know Eden personally, and I don't really know a lot of the circumstances around her passing, and as a fan, it's frankly none of my business. But I do remember seeing Andy's response on Twitter and feeling his grief and feeling his pain of losing someone who was so important to him. And that resonated with me on a molecular level. I felt bad for someone that I never had met because I've lost people that are close to me. And what struck me was sometimes how lonely it must feel for Andy to now be in this space that was so carved out with a friend and now floating like an island. The tragedy of a binary star system becoming singular. And he's doing okay from what I can tell, as okay as possible, still making a ton of art that I think is fantastic. still creating, which I think is great. But there's something else that came out of that, and that was him continuing to push forward Eden's legacy. Him continuing to post and create and draw in the Kamu Box space, and remembering Eden's birthday, so much so as celebrating it on his island in Animal Crossing. And that brought a joy to me that I didn't think that I was capable of in these trying times. Creators tend to create to leave behind something that is hopefully more permanent than them. That when the human body fails, we'll have something to have people remember us by. And while most writers would possibly be hesitant to be remembered by their fan fiction, I think it's beautiful that we have this beautiful ghost left behind of Eden, and one still at times created and given sentience and breathed life into by someone as dedicated as Andy. I can only hope that I continue to have friends in my life the way Andy and Eden were friends for each other. Someone who will continue to press forward your name in good faith, who will continue the race, continue the course, not without you, but because of you. I will continue to celebrate Andy's art, and I will continue to celebrate Eden's art. I will continue to love dressing up as Bok Chang because of a silly ship that I saw on Tumblr once a few years ago. But I never would have gotten there without Andy's work, and now without the grace of Eden's legacy. Thank you.